All sincerity shown, Manipur continues to burn. It's been 50 days since ethnic violence erupted in the hill state. One of the point of contention is that the majority of people, including BJP MLAs, are unhappy with Chief Minister Biren Singh's handling of the entire situation. However, Biren Singh has managed to get a new lease of life after meeting Home Minister Amit Shah in National Capital on Sunday. He was supported publicly. He was asked to continue his work properly and ensure that everyone is on board. This means that Biren Singh will remain in the helm of affairs in Manipur as of now. In New Delhi, Singh had a detailed discussion with the Home Minister, who advised him to establish peace in the state and revive dialogue across communities. And in the latest, a mob of 1,500 women, a story which we had been following, Brijesh.
Absolutely.
They surrounded a target area, stopped a counter-insurgency operation in the Imphal on late Saturday. The mob forced army to release 12 cadres of the band KYKL. Yes, a band KYKL. And this is not the first time that women are actively participating in the tussle going on in the violent, torn state. During the recent clashes, women groups here have taken to the streets to protest against the government, and also the operations launched by the security forces to flush out armed miscreants and recover looted weapons and ammunition. So why are women out? Two important things. Biren Singh to stay, and why are women out? Women have become the forefront, the face of community action. I am not saying that the women have joined insurgents, but they have become part of community action to free their own people. And they have become the frontline leaders because they stop the convoy. They create a sort of a subtle pressure on the army which immobilize them. You don't use hard tactics on women and children. It's not done anywhere. People don't take it lightly. The incident can be seen from the perspective that Manipur, which has witnessed several unrests in the past, women here have played significant roles, are at the helm of affairs in almost all sphere. So at one point of time, you have all party meeting, you have people talking to each other, you have leaders saying that this should be done, that should not be done, they should be allowed to visit the state. But on the other hand, the state of Manipur is witnessing a different phenomena. On this debate, I'll be joined by Dr. Haukip, Assistant Professor, Central University of Gujarat. I'll also be joined by Dr. Siram Rojesh, journalist and social activist. I'll also be joined by Hejang Misao, and I'll also be joined by Major General Sanjay Meston. But today I would like to keep this debate limited to 2 points only. And before I go back to my esteemed guests, I would like to play out a bite of Biren Singh to get the perspective of the opposition. It's an 8-minute bite. Please listen to this bite. This seminar was held on Sunday on Manipur after the all-party meeting. All-party meeting was on Saturday. This was held on Sunday. We will keep our conversation, not a debate, a conversation of the phenomena of women not letting army do the job. And we'll go to General Meston on this. And then the whole issue of now Biren Singh stays, what do you do with that? First we listen to the bite.
10 political party representatives, even his own party ministers, MLAs also, he is not yet met. Sometimes, yesterday also, in our national level, political party leaders, chaired by Honorable Home Minister, that is also I mentioned. And before also what we are speaking, we said that, even yesterday in the meeting also I said that, what we are expressing, our views, our comments, what we say, it is exactly what the people, or what they feel, and this is their voice. Whether Manipur is a part of this vast country or not, whether this Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji is the Prime Minister of India, excluding Manipur or not. So let us know whether Manipur belongs to this vast country or not. Even that is also what we feel. This is what we mentioned in our meetings. And I don't know nothing, just I watched yesterday's meeting. Other our colleagues, honorable MPs, both from left party, CPIM, and JDU also, honorable MP is on the dais. He is strongly pressurized to the government of India, particularly to the honorable Home Minister. And it is just in the conclusion, just I watched. They didn't say anything, they didn't take any resolution. Even from our colleague, TMC MP, Shri Oberoi, she suggested about a all political party delegation team wanted to visit Manipur and see what is the situation is there. That is also whether yes or no, they didn't say anything, no reply at all. And Amit Shah ji also I say, when you have visited there, you have visited all the relief camp, whether Churasanpur, whether Kangpokpi or Imphal East West. What is happening there? Thousands of women and children, they are crying in the relief camp. And with all due regard, some of the, this is actually, this language I does not like to mention, even in the yesterday's meeting also, some of the women who are taking shelter from displaced family who are taking shelter in the relief camp, delivery has been started. Where there is any near hospital, they rush to the hospital. Those where is far-flung area, anyhow they are managing there. This is the horrible condition. This is so much inhuman. And this is human tragedy. You know you have seen. He didn't reply anything. And whatever they have done from 4 or 5 May, there is a slight show is there. Whatever when he visited in Delhi, in Manipur, he had declared some package, those who lost their life, 10 crore, 5 from the central government, 5 from the state government, like that. We have some send rice, all these things. And also, I mentioned that, see, India is claiming we are the 4th largest military power in the world. There are more than 35,000 state forces is there. From the MSA, send more than 60,000 paramilitary forces like Rapid Action Force, Assam Rifle or BSF put together. More than 60,000 have already sent their say. Then put together state force, central force, more than 1 lakh. Such a small, tiny state. If central government is determined with a time-bound manner, all the armed group, whether legal or illegal, should be disarmed within these 3 days or within 1 week at the most. If government of India is determined and committed, then those who are not followed the order should take up stringent action. So why not? Government of India are serious enough, and if you people are determined and committed, it can be once enough. You take action, appropriate, timely action, take. This still continuing firing, killing each other. We think that just like silent spectator, let them kill each other. Then only when they feel tired, then there may be a process for negotiation, talk and all these things. Actually, we are not coming here for our political gain or for political lies. We want peace, like other states of India. So he didn't, they didn't reply anything. Only shows a slide and all these things. And then they started. And also some embarrassing, what I feel there may be a little embarrassing when I put some question. Why till today, nearly 2 months, it has crossed 50 days. Till today, why Prime Minister of this country did not mention about Manipur even a single word, even a single tweet? Why it seems just like angry against the Manipur. Though it is a small, tiny state, what we feel that we are protecting the international boundary of Manipur and Myanmar. We are proud of this, but election is election. When election is over, whomsoever any party, Narendra Modi ji became Prime Minister of this country. We thought that he is our Prime Minister. Party maybe belong from different party. He is our Prime Minister. If he feels that Manipur also is a part of this country, why not even today? It has already been gone 50 days. He did not mention even a single word. This is questionable. This is what we are not saying as a opposition. So like this, some other embarrassing question I started. So he started saying, Ivo Vijay, you take much, lot of time. See, there are more than 20 different political parties. If we allot 10, 15, no time, sorry, you conclude. Then I said that I will conclude. Please give me. And also, I does not like to mention the other colleagues, most of the political party representatives are there. So I said that I have opportunity, whether fortunate or unfortunate, number of issues I faced during my tenure. I have served 15 years as a chief minister. Lot of problem, lot of issue like this I have faced. So at least please give some more time. The other political party representative, they also said that yes, what he requests is correct, we will support. Let us give him some more time. Then Amit Shah is quite mum. Then after that, when all the other political parties, they give their view, I think not more than 5-6 minutes. So when he has given his concluding remark, then I started saying, Amit Shah ji, please give at least 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes more time.
So this gives you a wrap of what happened on Saturday. This gives you a basic understanding that everyone got 5-10 minutes to speak. It was not as if, people could make the presentation. And the visuals you were watching on the right hand side, I would like them to be played. They are the visuals which have been provided by the Spear Corps. And let me tell you, I will read out what the Spear Corps has said, and General Meston, please listen to me. Operation in Itham village in Imphal district, acting on specific intelligence operation, was launched in village Itham in Imphal East by security forces today morning. Specific search after laying cordon was undertaken to avoid hardships to other locals in the area. In ensuing operation, 12 KYKL cadres were apprehended along with arms, ammunition and warlike stores. Positive identification of cells styled Lieutenant Colonel Moryang Them Tamba alias Uttam. Amongst 12 people were apprehended. Mob of approximately 1,200 to 1,500 led by women and local leaders surrounded the target and prevented security forces from going ahead. Repeated appeals to the aggressive mob to let the security forces carry on operation as per law did not yield result. Keeping the sensitivity of the kinetic or the use of kinetic force against large irate mob led by women and likely casualty due to such action, considered decision was taken to hand over all 12 cadres to local leader. On column lifted, the cordon left the area with weapons and warlike stores recovered. Mature decision on the part of the operational commander shows humane face of the Indian Army to avoid any collateral damage in Manipur. General Meston, I will not preface a question for you. I want your raw thought to come on this.
Yeah, my raw thought is that firstly, I belong to the Indian Army. I've put in 40 years. And frankly, it would be incorrect for me to comment because I was not there on the ground. But yes, the issue of women has happened also in Kashmir Valley. Children have also been used. Here also, the women have been used. I do not know how we have been handling there and how it has been handled here. Beyond this, I think as a soldier, it would be morally incorrect for me to comment. I do understand. I have my individual thoughts on this, but perhaps it will be on social media. So I will leave it at that. But yes, one thing I would say after hearing the Chief Minister, that he has stated very clearly certain issues. But one thing I've also been stating, that everything has to be time bound. If you recollect, I stated that in the armed forces, the orders are that by so and so date, so and so time, this shall be implemented. Similarly, here, now the violence has been going on since more than 50 days, and things continue the way it is. And it is a very sorry state of affairs that it is not being controlled. And I personally feel army and the paramilitary forces can only suppress, but it is a political resolution. Political resolve has to be there. The political will has to be there. This problem could have been resolved in the first 2 days itself. And I have no doubts on that. Women being used effectively. See, this has become a tactics today to start using women. After all, who's mobilizing the women? Women have been educated by someone. That also needs to be investigated. Someone is getting the women on board. Same things have happened in Kashmir Valley. So, it's a very tricky situation. And I personally feel it is going out of hands. And is the is our country prepared to allow it to continue? Because if we analyze it, it is going to have long-term ramifications on the security and integrity of India. Now I'll explain how. It's a very sensitive border state. Today, our number one stated enemy obviously is China and Pakistan. What does it imply? We have to deploy huge number of forces, especially on the LAC with China and including with Pakistan. We cannot ever afford to relax the guard. Indian Army has got a strength ceiling. We cannot exceed the strength which has been stipulated by the government of India. So we have to govern, function within that resources. Now, if there are limited resources of manpower, that manpower, obviously the priority is the line of actual control, the LC and the international border with Pakistan. And of course, now if we are committed everywhere, now I think the Chief Minister did analyze that there are more than 1 lakh security forces. I'm now specifically talking about army. We have large number of army people present. Is it good for our country? The army's prime interest today is we are extremely worried about China. We have had the Galwan clash, we have had the Doklam Plateau incident, and today Chinese, the way they are developing the infrastructure, developing the villages all along. So if we continue with this kind of a scenario, which is based along the LAC, from where do we get the troops? Obviously, we have to pick up the troops from some other places, which will be now compromising with our national security. And if this problem continues for a long time, let me tell you, since I have operated in this area, leave aside the Manipur Valley, the other area is totally hilly track, mountainous areas, dense jungles, Nagaland, the Manipur surrounding hills, and of course Mizoram, and further Arunachal Pradesh. And right is, of course, towards the east is the Myanmar Valley. All this is very densely dense forests are there. God forbid tomorrow if this continues and this proliferates to the other two neighboring hills and it takes a dimension of the ethnicity the way it is going. Let me tell you, we will have to have a long-term commitment, deployment of Indian Army and the security forces here. Can we afford it? The answer is very clear, no. We have to prioritize. Our priority is China and Pakistan. If internal wars we are now going to use the army, and if this is not stopped, it will continue. We'll have to deploy huge and operating for armed forces in these jungle areas is not easy. You'll have to deploy huge number of forces. There are dense jungles. The terrain permits, the terrain obviously lends advantage to the terrorists over there or to the people who are coming from Myanmar. An army cannot be deployed at every inch of ground. We have seen this enough in J&K itself. J&K today we have huge deployment along the that is the counter infiltration grid. Yet terrorists are infiltrating despite adequate fencing, despite having adequate deployment. So this, if we get involved here, it is at the cost of your priority, which is the line of actual control in China. And if this happens tomorrow, China is going to take advantage and start, doing nibbling again in the LSC. So long-term interest we have to keep in mind, and let us not continue this. I think this violence should cease by a particular date and time. Why allowed to proliferate? And this solution is a political solution. I think that is what it is. The other day, if you recollect, I mentioned, why can't the women are being used? Why are they not being used for peace marches? Get women from both the
I think, General Meston, that's a fair point from which I can invite other people in the conversation. I'm also being joined by Dr. CM Rajesh, journalist and social activist. After that, I'll go to Dr. Haukip and Misauji, who are very patiently waiting. So, Rajesh, tell me one thing. For Spear Corps, Army, they have come out with a tweet. They have given the location and they said that this happened and they did this to avoid the collateral. How do you see this development taking place? And it's not a joke to have 1,500 people led by a column of women. The arms remain with the army, but the militants had to be released because army could calculate that if they become aggressive, they would have been collateral. Mr. Rajesh. Mr. Rajesh, am I audible to you? Okay, I don't think my voice is going to Mr. Rajesh. Misauji, can you take this question?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, did you hear my question?
Yeah, so please repeat again the question because there was some connection loss. So just tell me again.
My question was that if you look at the visual, women have led a column of 1,500 people as per the army and got the militants released. Now, if you compel the army to release the militants because they want to avoid the collateral, then how will the situation stabilize?
Yeah, so am I audible now?
You are audible, Rajesh.
Yeah, so I think you have shown two footage in this thing. So one was the press meet briefed by the Honorable former Chief Minister of Manipur, who actually was considered one of the tough Chief Minister. And during his time, actually, a lot of counterinsurgency operation was conducted, and even there are allegations of the fake encounters of 1,500 fake encounters were there. And Manipur was actually literally a very peaceful state, in fact, before this violence occurred. And he also said that is India part of India? Is Manipur part of India? Then why the Prime Minister is actually completely silent? Why there is no political commitment to actually resolve this conflict? So this question has been even asked by the former Chief Minister. Actually, it's actually give a very underlying meaning that the government of India, actually, they are not determined, rather they are actually wanting to continue this kind of violence, and both the Kukis and Meiteis are divided, and the state can be ruled. And this is actually the problem lies. And even the Home Minister of, the Honorable Home Minister, actually, he started meeting with the Kuki MLAs, Naga MLAs, and Meitei MLAs. So instead of trying to control the violence and peace, but they are doing politics of dividing people, and people are really condemning such kind of divide and rule. because in this point of time, what Manipur need is peace, restoration of law and order, and of the innocent life of the both Kukis and Meiteis are terribly, horribly, affected, both the communities. So the sincere effort from the government is actually required. As far as your question is concerned, even in the last 50 days of this violence, the larger Manipuri women or even the Meiteis in the larger population, they have actually have a very suspicious of the role of the Assam Rifles. And in many of the media report has said that the Assam Rifles were protecting the Kuki militant and they did not actually intervene when a lot of attack happened from the Kuki militant. And there is a general perception that the larger forces are not to actually protect the Meitei population, rather to actually protect the Kuki, the violence. So this perception is very dangerous. That is why many women thought that these operations actually should also be conducted in the hill area, and those involved, Kuki militant who actually try to exploit the situation on the 3rd May in the peaceful rally, they actually take advantage and they started attacking the communities, and this violence started. So what the people, especially in the valleys, they're demanding that all the Sioux militant actually has to be cancelled. The abrogation of the agreement have to be cancelled, and those armed militant have to be disarmed. So instead of disarming the main perpetrator, now they are focusing on the valley. So it actually shows that the government should have actually already disarmed those Kuki militant, and there is no need for any combing operation in valley, because these groups of people who actually looted arms, they would surrender, and people will also ask them that now you actually surrender your arms. But that kind of opportunity is not given by the government. Rather, they are protecting the Kuki militant, and the Home Minister have not said a single word against the act of the Sioux militant or any militant involvement. Rather, they are saying that they should be live in the designated camp. The question is, they have already breached the agreement of the government of India and the militant that they have to live in the designated camp. The guns cannot be carried out in the public places. So all this agreement have already breached, already broken by those group of vested interests, and then government of India not taking action. This is the beginning. That is why the general perception thought that since the other side is actually given free movement or even not taken action, and in the Imphal, you are actually the last forces are in the Imphal.
Mr. Rojesh, I know you have answered. You have taken a lot of things. The question was of a particular direction, but you have taken.
No, I am.
That's okay, perfectly. I have no problem. In my conversation, there is no problem. I don't create TV debate. See, you have spoken a lot of things. I'll give you a chance again. It's a 2-hour long debate. You're not going anywhere. We are all here. Ms. Sauji knows it. We take our time. We allow people to have a conversation. He is now a regular guest. So, but I need to play out some more bites. I need to play out some more content so that the people can have unmediated, immersive experience with what has happened in context of Manipur. Like for example, other people have also spoken yesterday on Sunday. But before that, let me go to Brijesh. Brijesh, there are two things here. Now, Biren Singh has spoken to a leading newspaper, The Hindu. It's very clear he's going to stay. He's saying that Amit Shah ji has told me to talk to every community. Second thing which is happening is this debate which is bordering on AFSPA now. Because army is not doing anything because it's unprotected. There can be a legal action. So there are two-pronged things which are happening right now. Peace committee has not been formed. All party delegation has not gone. A meeting has taken place in Delhi. This aspect of the insurgency has become more pronounced. And then you have the Biren Singh staying. What is your big picture, Brajesh?
Well, I think, as far as security aspect is concerned, I think a lot more has to be thought through before, any solid achievement on the ground can be achieved, can be realized. What happened day before yesterday is a very sorry state of affairs. If a mob can force army to leave or to release 12 insurgents, which they have been looking for, that includes someone who is a mastermind in the 2015 Dogra attack case, I think it presents a very scary picture. Army did a wise thing because, you know, the state of Manipur is already in a big turmoil. They wouldn't want to exacerbate, they didn't want to further inflame the passion which is already there. But it doesn't take away the fact that it's just not on what happened during that. Tomorrow, the same kind of tactics would be deployed by all other insurgent groups. How are you going to differentiate between a Maiti and a Kuki insurgent groups? And saying that, you know, that this is happening in Imphal only, or the government is only going after Maiti or Kuki, is not the correct picture. This doesn't augur well. B, I think by allowing Biren Singh to stay on is something which I have said so many times, that this government would not want to be seen as weak. You know, as somebody who is weak and who is forced to remove Biren Singh just because the situation got out of control. But I think the onus now on the government is more than before, because now the government has to ensure that it instills a faith in both sides, both be it Kuki or Maiti, to show that, you know, that justice will be done. And there will be no there's been no partial action which will be taken. I think that is going to be a Herculean task for the Chief Minister, because both sides have openly said that that they do not trust the state administration at all. So I think, you know, the picture, very honestly speaking, the situation remained where it was. And it has further inflamed passion of what has been tweeted by Spear Corps, and the government has to work really hard, doubly hard now, to ensure that the situation doesn't spiral out of control.
Now, 36,000 security personnel, including 40 IPS officers, have been deployed in Manipur. 20 medical teams dispatched. 1,800 looted weapons have been surrendered to authorities. Now I'll go to Misauji and then Dr. Haukip. Misauji, Biren Singh is going to stay. It's clear. This is the deal on the plate. Where should the conversation move? It's a value neutral question now.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, sir.
If you really look for peace, and if you talk peace, and if you don't act, I don't think normalcy will live back in Manipur. The so-called peace will be a far cry. And the very fact that if you allow the person who is the main perpetrator of what is happening in Manipur is allowed to continue to sit in his throne, then I think we are just like trying to fool other communities. That's a fact, and it cannot be denied at all. So if I've been telling during the last talk show, because if the center is really serious in bringing peace, there are certain homework which needs to be done. Number one, if you still believe in the capacity and ability of Mr. Biren Singh, who is sole responsible person for all the havoc that is happening in Manipur, then I think the speculation that the whole crisis is the making of the central government will be proven, and that will be beyond the doubt. Now, even now, in spite of all the lawlessness in the state, which is happening, the central government is hesitant to enforce president rule in the state. So this raised lots of questions in the whole intention of the central government. Major General Sanjay always take reference to the Chinese and Pakistan ISI. So my question here is like, will you respond to the extent if Chinese involvement or Chinese incursion in the northeast part, especially in Manipur, is happening? And why are the center not taking serious enough when more than 100 lives are lost and thousands of people are displaced and their houses are burned down? So that's a big question which I want to put to the Chinese. Now, the life of the Indian citizens should matter more. Now, I'm not saying we would invite the Chinese incursion, but as much importance is given, as much seriousness is given to the Chinese incursion in Arunachal Pradesh. The violence and the conflicts that's happening in in the states, which is the integral part of India, the center should take serious matter. And now coming back to the release of 12 proscribed band KYK who are responsible for the massacre of the Indian soldier, the Dogra regiment. And it's a surprise to every citizen why these proscribed militants who are arrested with arms and ammunition, wildlife stores are released. Are the Indian armies acting on the whims and wisdom of the Mega Pipes? And the Mega Pipes, who are renowned for the good work, renowned for their social activities, renowned for the human rights, they're renowned for the justice they stand. Now today, how they are acting to that extent, defaming the entire Mega Pipes credibility. That's a big question I would like to raise to the Mega Pipes and especially the Meitei people. That is not the only instance where the Mega Pipes are directly involving in this conflict. When the Meitei militants with sophisticated weapons are attacking the Kuki community, the Assam Rifle and the Gorkha regiments who are posted in the buffer zone to protect both the community, when they ask for reinforcement, this Mera Paibi stopped the reinforcement who are coming from Imphal. So this is how they explicitly taking part in the whole
there was a part of it, Misauji, there's a part of it which was not audible. Are you saying that army is not being allowed to do its job professionally because of some vested interest? Are you saying that?
What I'm saying is the Mera Paivis who allowed 12 KYKL militant groups to be released, this is not the first instance. There are lots of instances where Mera Paivis are directly and explicitly involved in the whole conflict by blocking the reinforcements of the army column.
I think that's okay. That's an important That's an important point you have made, Misauji. Okay. So
that's very unfortunate. That's very unfortunate event. And I'm also surprised. I'm also surprised why the conflicts continue is all because the radicalization of all the section of the Meitei society. Forget about all those common people, even the intellectual, the academician, the bureaucrat, the army retirees, even the army retirees are radicalized. This is the reason why the conflicts, solving the conflicts and bringing back peace will be something which is a hard nut to crack as of now. Therefore,
Misauji, point taken. The only thing I would like to say in this program is, you have all the right to put your points across, but the sort of the professionalism of Indian Army, the dedication and its commitment to this nation is beyond the conversation of any of our programs. It's not on you. It's not on you, Misauji. Please, Misauji.
Yes.
It's not about you. I'm just giving it like a statement as an editor of my channel when I hold this show, that the commitment, dedication, professionalism of Indian Army is beyond any comment or narrative. And it has its own audits when it fails. So, when I say this, when I hold these debates on such a fraught issue where ethnicities and communities are involved, I say this again and again. We, both me and Brijesh, and News9 as a platform holds Indian Army here, It's like here. It's up here. So every point is taken, but when we talk about army, when we talk about our institutions, men on ground, the men in olives, they're up here, Yeah. Dr. Hauke, your comments, and then I have to play some couple of bites.
Thank you for having me here. I do concur with General Maston's view that despite all the national security threats emanating from neighboring countries, unfortunately, the Indian Army has to relocate its forces to Manipur to contain the violence. This is the very unfortunate part. My comment here on this issue, women folks being used as a weapon to launch attacks or to put hurdles against to the Indian Army from conducting its activities and in law enforcement activities. It's very unfortunate, but I'm not surprised that this has been the case. For years, the Métis society has been radicalized, and the women organizations that had long played an important role in containing violence or containing drug managed in the state, among others, are now being used as a weapon to sabotage the activities of the Indian Army. I think this is highly condemnable, and I'm also privy to the certain ground reports that this has been the modus operandi of the Métis, the radical organizations. Whenever attacks take place in Kuki areas, and when the Indian Army sent its forces to contain the violence, these women organizations put up roadblocks on the road and in jeopardizing the capacity of the Indian Army to conduct its activities and so on. So this is a very unfortunate part. And the one important point which I would like to highlight here is that despite all the significant steps taken by the central government, I'm really, really disappointed with the decision to allow the chief minister to continue its office. Given the radicalized hardline image that he has epitomized, I don't think it would serve the cause of peace in the state by allowing CM Biren to continue in the position. In fact, there were news reports quoting that the Honorable Home Minister Amit Shah has asked CM Biren to look into the law and order matters in the valley areas, and that the Home Minister himself would look into the issues in the hill areas. I think reading between the lines, this reflects the fact that the Chief Minister has problems of acceptance, legitimacy in the hill areas. And this, in fact, warrants the imposition of the President rule so that the Indian security forces can take full control of the law and order situation. Right now, unfortunately, we have a very confusing de facto arrangement where the Chief Minister, an elected Chief Minister, is still in his chair, but at the same time, the Home Department is still looked after by Kuldeep Singh, who is heading the Unified Command. But this is a de facto arrangement, and it has to be at least de jure arrangement has to be put in place where the center is taking charge of the security and law and order situation in the state. And importantly, why this is important? Because it has been an established point that the state forces are having a very partisan conduct in managing the law and order situation. Look at the way the DGP, P. Donal, was removed from his position because of his ethnicity. And there are also other senior IPS, Kuki IPS officers who were not allowed to discharge his responsibility freely, and some escaping, running away to safety in CRPF camp in Langsing and so on. So under the circumstances, this situation definitely is the central government to take charge of the law and order situation in the state. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, this is one part of the discussion. General Meston, total of 1,100 arms, 13,702 ammunition, 250 bombs of different kinds have been recovered. I'll go into this part again. But before that, let me play out some political bites, because there was a seminar which took place in Delhi. And I want to keep this debate at two levels about this army not being allowed to do its job and what politicians are speaking. You see, but ultimately we have spoken on many social things. We have to see what these lawmakers are saying, and then we will be able to understand the movement that is going to take place. It is very, very important. And Biren Singh has spoken to a couple of private channels also. If we get the Biren Singh's interview, we'll play this out for you too as well. So first listen to the couple of bites.
देखिए, आज की जो बैठक हुई है उस बैठक में एक माहौल पॉजिटिविटी की, सकारात्मकता की थी। सभी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज ने कोऑपरेशन की बात कही। सभी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज ने कहा कि हम भी चाहते हैं कि यथाशीघ्र वहां शांति बहाली हो, और ये हम सबके लिए एक जानने योग्य विषय है कि जून 13 के पश्चात एक भी जान की क्षति मणिपुर में नहीं हुई है। किस प्रकार से इसी प्रकार की स्थिति जहां कोई जानो माल की क्षति ना हो, इसको कायम रखा जा सके, इसके लिए आगे जो भी करना पड़ेगा, माननीय गृह मंत्री जी ने सभी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज को आश्वस्त किया है कि वो कदम उठाएंगे।
You have heard many speakers before me, and there is very little that I can add to what has been said. What we are witnessing in Manipur is a huge political disaster. What we are witnessing in Manipur is a huge social calamity. And what we are witnessing in Manipur is a most anguishing humanitarian tragedy. All three are important. It's a political disaster caused by divisive ideologies and divisive politics of the RSS BJP. It is a social calamity caused by enormous arming of militant groups belonging to different communities and the inability of the government to disarm those groups. And it's a humanitarian tragedy because harmony has completely broken down, trust has completely broken down among the different communities that make up Manipur. These are communities who have their own culture, their own tradition, their own language, their own customs, but they are first and foremost Indian citizens. They are citizens of Manipur. And therefore, what happens to the Kukis of Manipur, what happens to the Meiteis of Manipur, what happens to the Nagas of Manipur, what happens to each and every citizen of Manipur belonging to different communities is a matter of anguish and pain and distress for all of India. That is all I can say. The Prime Minister is silent. The Home Minister is ineffective. The Chief Minister is non-functional. And people are bearing the consequences of all these events that have taken place. The first and foremost requirement in Manipur, in my view, is to disarm all armed groups ruthlessly. You cannot have citizens of India with this level of arms and ammunition threatening ordinary people. You have to disarm all groups. Second, you have to listen to every community in Manipur. The Kukis, the Meiteis, the Nagas, everybody.
So, General Meston, political consensus is that you need to disarm the group. I have given you the logistic part: 1,100 arms, 13,702 ammunition, 250 bombs. And you have today's Spear Corps Twitter account which says that they had to release the militants. Now, in this context, how does demobilization and disarmament takes place? You have always given example of Rwanda, you have given Hutus and Tutsis example. How do you disarm people? What happens when you go for disarming civil societies which have armed themselves? How can that happen? Can you just shed some light on it?
Yeah, there are various
house to house search, whatever. Can you please take us through?
Yeah. There are various methodologies to implement this. Firstly, most of the time, it is resolved through a political and a politico-military dialogue with the militant groups, any militant group. We have a dialogue with them and motivate them that they will be taken into the national mainstream or the state mainstream if they surrender their weapons. And during the course of surrender, it's a big event, and number of times it has happened even in Northeast. And the militants come and surrender their arms, and they are assured of I would say dignified life thereafter because they are involved into the mainstream. But if there are some hardcore terrorists who have killed people, obviously for them stern action is taken. See, not every militant is supposed to be involved in killings. Most of them are, just foot soldiers who are just obeying the orders. So it is the leaders. Definitely, we take a lot of action. It's happened in J&K. We have done this exercise there also, and it has got a lot of dividends. So that is first stage, is that you do a lot of canvassing, you do an announcement, you have some emissaries going to the people, sending out a very positive message and encourage them that things will be looked after in a very, very peaceful manner, because the aim is to disarm them and thereafter we demobilize them and get them into the national mainstream. That is the first stage. Second stage is, let's assume no one is coming up to surrender. Then we give some ultimate deadline that by so and so date, you must surrender the weapons at so and so place. Otherwise, the armed forces will be compelled to take a strict action. Now, for example, they do not yet respond. So thereafter, firstly, we have to have specific intelligence, because without intelligence, you cannot just go haywire and just keep going anywhere. So you have to have specific intelligence that so-and-so village, there are some people who have got some kind of arms ammunition. And intelligence is always available because the army and the police, especially the police, they have got good information because they have outposts and they know the local people. And army also, over a period of prolonged deployment, we start knowing the locals and they come and interact with us, whether it is in Kashmir, whether it is in Northeast. And we have witnessed all this. So people come with specific intelligence. So thereafter, you have to cordon off a village and go to those specific houses and search, and whatever is there, you record it, you document it, and you take these weapons. And if you have apprehended a militant, sometimes, militants also get the bent. They escape, but every time it is not possible for them to carry a weapon, because what happens is, if the cordon has been placed, outer and inner cordon, then for them to escape with weapons is difficult because he'll be identified. So firstly, he would try to hide it somewhere. He may hide it in some of the fields or anywhere, or underneath some rock, or inside the house. We have had experiences where I've done some operations in Kashmir where we have found hidden weapons inside rocks and inside some tunnels and caves. So anything is possible. So you do a detailed cordon and search operation, and without causing inconvenience to the local people. That is a very, very important aspect, because we do not want to cause inconvenience. So if children have to go to school, they are allowed, but they are only allowed and exited through some of the points. And there we have people deployed even from the local police, because for all this we always take the local police, the local Mahila police, the women constables, and also some of the village elders, so that they assist us. Tomorrow, no one should be able to level false allegations against the armed forces. So this is the way this exercise is done. And once the complete cordon and search is over, whatever is recovered, we document it. It is photographed, everything. Witnesses sign it, so that tomorrow, there is no comeback. And sometimes it also may happen that you may get a fire from some of the neighboring houses when you are going to search. Number of times it's happened in J&K. Obviously, then you have to resort to a different drill of neutralizing the terrorists, again, without causing collateral damage, because that is the underlying statement. So what happens is, you try to clear that house. First and foremost, there is an intervention drill. In fact, my both the sons are also in the Indian Army, and one of the younger sons, he's written a fantastic paper on intervention drill because he's from the special forces. So intervention drills are resorted to. Again, the aim is to neutralize the terrorist and save and take all precautionary measures that there is no collateral damage. neither to property, and more important, neither to human beings. So this is the way we generally do. And sometimes the inter-agencies, including the army, military, intelligence, they also have a very good networking. Sometimes you have stray cases where individual terrorists, they are motivated by some people, by the village people, by the army people, one to one. I have done this in JNK once. I really motivated someone and he came and revealed everything. So this is through not compulsion or force. This is actually through talking. And I think the language which we use and the respect we give to someone, that matters. Sometimes you have to touch the people's heart, and that is why the army always functions that in insurgency areas, you have to win the hearts and minds of the people. So it's a very complex situation. In a battlefield, you know your enemy. Here, no one is our enemy. It is some misguided youth, people who are branded as terrorists. So we have to get them into the national mainstream. And that is why I say army is just one of the tools to assist. Otherwise, it is more of a political solution. The rest of the, and more important than army, it is the local police. Because they are the ones who are operating 24/7 in all these areas. They know the people so well. And then there are a lot of people, let me tell you, now in any society I have seen, it is only very few radicalized people. Whether it is X community or Y community, you will have very few people radicalized. The rest of the people want to live in peace. And very hardcore communities I've seen, whether in Afghanistan or anywhere, including in Rwanda, between the Hutus and Tutsis, they have inter-religion, ethnicity marriages, and so is the case here. There are so many people who marry here amongst the inter-community. So there are so many people who are actually very keen on peace, but there are some vested interests who are, paid by someone, and there's an agenda. God knows whose agenda is what. But these people who are the mainstream, the unsung people, who are keeping their voices silent, one has to mobilize their voices. And they are the ones who can enforce peace or give a signal of peace. And that is why I've been harping. Today, speak to the Kukis, speak to the Metis. There are so many of them who want peace. Get those people, like-minded people. Why no effort has been made in that direction? When they see so many Metis and Kukis, women, children, old people, elderly people who want peace, marching together, no one will fire on them. No Kuki militant will fire, no Methi militant will fire. And they are the ones, because see, they are the locals. And today the message is like, even I hear some panelists, one can after two remarks make out if he belongs to which community or ethnicity. That should not happen. Because someone also quoted about something of the Indian Army. Actually, frankly, I did not hear what exactly he was saying, but your remark, I could make out that he sparred some awkward remarks in the Indian Army. I really didn't hear what was the remark, but one thing I can clarify. Indian Army, firstly, let me be very clear. We are people from all diversified groups, religions, every place we are represented. Every village there are people, including in Nagaland. And the youngest regiment in the Indian Army is the Naga Regiment, raised in 1970. It is such a great matter of honor. And people, whether they are Metis, whether they are Kukis, whether they are local Nagas, they are in this regiment. Not only Naga Regiment, they are also in the Assam Regiment. I have commanded a Maha Regiment, where when I was a div commander in Firozpur, having about 12 infantry battalions under me, I had 2 Assam regiments, and I used to go to the church and to the temple both and interact with the boys. They were living so happily. And another thing why I am giving this example is, see, today we must remember, whether he is a Methi or whether he is a Kuki, he belongs to Manipur. He is part of the Indian Army also. So tomorrow, if we start spreading this hatred so much, it is going to impact the soldiers who are today so unified. I have never seen in the Indian Army this kind of a problem. Let me tell you, I'll give you an example, and this is worth putting. My battalion is a Maha Regiment. I commanded 13 Maha Regiment. My boys primarily belong to Maharashtra from the scheduled castes. But there are people from all over India also, about 20%, all over India. And my battalion had captured, of course, I was not part of the battalion then, I was just 11 years. In 1971, we captured a post known as Thanpi in Poonch sector. And can you believe the Pakistani post, when we captured, some Baba came to the post and he said, ki, ye jo aap log ne, you have captured this. Always on 5th December, we captured on 5th December. You must celebrate this Thanpir Day and do a cut a bakra in a masjid. Can you believe? My Jawans are, majority of them actually are Buddhist and Hindus. But yet, every year, on 5th December, it's a ritual. Last year, I attended this event in Roorkee. All officers we go retired, serving. This ritual is carrying on. This is unheard of. It's in a masjid we do it. And we get a Maulvi. And if we don't have a Maulvi, we get one of our Muslim Jawans who does the everything. So what I'm trying to highlight, Indian Army is the epitome of unity. And let me tell you today, to everyone in this, and through the social media I can state, the last resort for this country is Indian Army. The nation trusts Indian Army. And Indian Army is not at all ridiculized. Some people are trying to ridiculate.
General Mester, very few people would realize that when I was in Congo, I had asked, where do you guys pray? And they had taken me to the prayer bhavan, and you had this a place of worship for the Sikhs, then you had a place of worship for the Hindus, there was a place of worship for the Muslims, and there was a place of worship for the other community, and it was all side by side. And I think that was an eye-opening thing for me, that the way Indian Army organizes itself. I would say the Indian Army is the brand ambassador of Indian secularism. General Meston, do you agree? It's the brand ambassador. It's the sexiest. It's the sexiest brand ambassador. But I would say Indian Army is the sexiest brand ambassador of Indian secularism. Nothing like that. Yeah. Nothing meets it.
Let me again reiterate. Since religion and caste becomes a big issue, as an officer, wherever I've been, I was not aware who belongs to which religion and who belongs to which caste or community. Really, I'm being very honest and upright.
Okay.
So that is the hallmark. And coming on to religion, I have seen Hindus going to masjids and the Muslims coming to the Hindu temples in our unit area. So we have a Sarv Dharam Sthal. And we celebrate all festivals, whether it is Eid, whether it is Christmas, or whether it is any festival. So we respect, and this is what makes us stand out. And sometimes I feel that today the armed forces people, we can even teach so much to the outside world, including politicians, how to live peacefully. We have never had today. I have now retired about 4.5 years. Yet my Jawans call me and we meet them, and the kind of bonding, no one asks me what is your religion, and I don't ask them what is your religion. But in country today, first thing is what is your religion, what is your caste, what is your community. This is what one feels so sad about it. In the outside world, and today, tell me.
Well, General Meston, I would say that this is the reason why one institution is revered and one institution is so reviled. I mean, you would always ask your son and daughters to go into army or institution like these and never join politics.
कोई तो नहीं कहता ना नेता बन जाओ.
चौथी
क्लास में बच्चा पढ़ रहा है तो कोई तो नहीं बोलेगा नेता बन जाओ.
It sums up the entire debate.
सब बोलेंगे फौज ज्वाइन करो, डॉक्टर बनो. कोई तो नहीं कहता नेता बन जाओ.
Absolutely.
General Meston.
Yeah, very true. In fact, I had done a survey of young officers in the junior command force just about a few years back. And I asked them, which is the most revered profession in the country? And I said, revered is not by you, by the people of India. By the people of India. Because see, all of us come after all from some part of the country. So, the first thing which they said is, Indian Army. Bharatiya Sena. Number 2, surprisingly, was politicians. And actually I thought about it. Why politicians? Because they have got a lot of influence in the decision making and running of the nation. So a lot of people who do not want to do anything, they join politics. And let me tell you, sometimes my Jawans have told me, sir, you come in politics, change the systems. Today the nation requires people who are honest and all those kind of things. So
actually, General Meston, there was a study which was done, and I think that's where I don't want to divert the conversation because other 3 guests are waiting. But I think 2013 elections are very path-breaking. People forget that it was done. I don't want to name the agency. It was done a year before the whole campaign of Prime Minister Modi was launched. But when the survey came out, we were among the top 5 countries. The people who love their army. मतलब उन टॉप के 5 देशों में से है जिन्हें अपनी फौज से मोहब्बत है. People didn't realize that it is for the reason that the first rally which the Prime Minister did was in Haryana. And was that of ex-servicemen. People said कि ये क्या हो रहा है? But people have to understand that societies are different. They have different cultural, political values. They hold certain things sacrosanct. And since our system, our army is aligned to the democratic principles, it's held in a very high stead. So let me play out those 2 bites again. One from the CPM, which is Sitaram Yechury, and another K. Meghachandra. These 2 bites we'll play, and then we'll go back to our guest. We'll go to Dr. Haukip, we'll go to Mr. Misao, and we'll also go to Mr. Rojesh, who have been very patiently waiting. But these are the bites that were given on a huge opposition conclave that was held on Sunday in Delhi on Manipur. Major political parties participated in it. Major. You listen to these bites, they came late yesterday. I'm playing them out again.
इतनी बड़ी हिंसा हो रही है, 100 लोगों से ज्यादा लोगों की मौत हुई है, 600 से ज्यादा, 6000 से ज्यादा लोग जो है रिलीफ कैंपों में फंसे हैं, और हजारों की तादाद में आपका हथियारों की लूट मची है. और ये सरकार जो बीजेपी की डबल इंजन की सरकार जो है, वो सरकार निकम्मी है, वो वहां की परिस्थिति को काबू में नहीं लिया पा रही, ये स्पष्ट है. तो उस सरकार को बर्खास्त करना है और वहां पर शांति बहाल करने की जरूरत है, जो केंद्र सरकार की जिम्मेदारी. प्रधानमंत्री आज तक एक शब्द नहीं बोले, और 26 दिनों के बाद आपके गृह मंत्री वहां पे जाते हैं. जाने का कोई मतलब नहीं. कल उन्होंने सब पार्टियों की मीटिंग बुलाई. उस मीटिंग में भी प्रस्ताव रखा कि ये राज्य सरकार को बर्खास्त करो और साथ ही साथ आप जो है वहां पर कदम उठाओ ताकि वहां पे शांति की व्यवस्था पुनर्कायम हो. कोई कुछ नहीं किया. ऑल पार्टी डेलीगेशन हम मांगे कि वहां पे जाए ताकि कुछ कॉन्फिडेंस मिले, लोगों को विश्वास मिले कि भारत जो है साथ खड़ी है, कि हम चाहते हैं कि शांति चाहिए वहां पे, लेकिन उसको भी नहीं माना. तो सरकार के क्या है उनकी रुझान, इस तरीके से देश को जलाया जा रहा है सब जगह पर, हर एक पहलू पे. ये हम समझते हैं कि बहुत गलत ही नहीं, निंदाकरण.
We want immediate solutions to stop this cross-firing immediately. Otherwise, people are suffering a lot. Students are suffering a lot. Women are suffering a lot. The civil societies, the civilians are suffering a lot. Not getting these enough food, not getting enough water. And also the total, blockade is going on over the 2 national highways that we have. So automatically, after blocking the 2 national highway, all these essential commodities, it's becoming, the prices are very high. So even if whatever it is available, it is also the prices are very high. So it's difficult. It's a very hard time for Manipur. So in fact, we are here for meeting the Honorable Prime Ministers of India. So in fact, what we think is that if the Honorable Prime Ministers concerned about Manipur, it will take only 1 week time. The solution will be there if the Honorable Prime Minister is concerned about Manipur. So yesterday we had this all political party meeting called by these Honorable Home Ministers Amit Shah. At that time also these Honorable Home Ministers, he didn't care about the present situation over there. These Honorable Home Ministers is not seriously concerned about the situations. So all these oppositions as well as from the different political parties given a lot of suggestion for immediate solution. In fact, we are finding for the immediate solution. So that's why even though we are oppositions, we are interestingly joining the all political party meeting. So this is the present situation now. In fact, this double engine is not working together. The central government is is working on different direction. State government is also, working on different directions. So, if in case they work together, the solution will be very easy. And what you have raised the questions, it is due to the failure of the Biren Singh's government. These state governments, Shri Biren Singh is the Chief Minister of Manipur. He also admitted publicly that due to the collapse of law and order, and also he admitted that due to the failure of the intelligence department, he admitted publicly. So, due to the failure of this BJP administration over there in the state, this is one major factor that the present situation, the present violence occur.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is back. We'll play out the visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi meeting Amit Shah. Obviously, it's an important meeting. Though the details of the meeting are not known, what all they have discussed. This was the meeting of 24th June, the meeting which the Prime Minister held with Amit Shah and other important officials. Let me tell you that...
I think all the senior cabinet ministers were part of this meeting.
Yes, all the senior cabinet ministers were part of it, one. And secondly, I'm given to believe that this meeting has already taken place, one. And secondly, in this meeting, Nirmala Sitharaman, Hardeep Puri, Amit Shah, they were all present. So obviously, I think it was a sort of a briefing. It was not Manipur-centric briefing, but yes, it was not a cabinet. I think the senior members were called to have a briefing. So it was not a meeting of exactly to say Manipur meeting, but it was an important meeting which the Prime Minister held today. And that meeting, we will going to discuss as to what happened. Now, going back to Mr. Rojesh, you have been very, very patient. Thank you so much. My question to you is that we had discussed, now, it's becoming difficult for the Indian Army to operate there. There is a no on separate administration. You have a yes on Biren Singh. The only question is composition of the peace committee or all party delegation. Which one do you think will work better for Manipur? All party delegation of the opposition leaders or a reconstituted peace committee?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, Doctor. Yes, you are audible, Rajesh.
No, there are issues when the Home Minister actually convened a meeting, then the Honorable Chief Minister was not given a proper time to discuss. So the real issues are not being discussed in national media or in other forum. Rather, they are doing show again and again. My sincere appeal to the national media and all the government is that the sincerity and trying to understand the problem. What is the problem all about? Why the 50 days Manipur is burning? Why the government of India is not taking action against the Kuki militant and the Meitei armed groups? Who is asking this question? The government is not taking action against those Kuki militant. They are trying to divide Manipur. Why they are supporting? What is the Shu militant all about? What is their demand? Tell us. They are given stipend for 6,000 rupees for all the militant. What is the demand? Their demand is for a Kuki land. You are nurturing a larger militant organization and supporting for last 15 years. And when they are involved in actually disturbing the peace, and you are not taking action against those forces, and rather you are trying to concentrate all the forces in Imphal, and the women are forced to come out. They are saying if you are actually taking action, there is no need for the coming operation in Imphal. They will disarm themselves. All the political parties are saying that disarm all communities. But why the government of India is not disarming the Kuki militant at the same time? Why you are still talking with them? What are you cooking? This is a question needs to be asked by all sections of society, including the media. Why the national media is not asking to the government that you are not taking action? Why you are continuing this kind of talk? Who will held accountable? Those people who are in a peaceful rally come with AK-47 right, who has arrested them? Who will give this answer? Why the Modi is still silent?
Rajesh,
These are a big question.
Absolutely.
There are nearly 1 lakh armed forces are there. And still, you have already seen that the Indian Express editorial have already said that the Assam Rifles and they are not even allowing to shoot. They are simply just to stand in between. It was already reported from side that the security forces are not to take action. Rather, all the armed group are supposed to fire each other.
Well, Rajesh Brijesh Pandey this side, I want to ask you one question because, we have been discussing this thing. When Home Minister was there, Home Minister said that issued a specific warning to the Sioux groups that if they are found involved, strict action will be taken against them. The Chief Minister, hear me out, just give me 5 seconds, the Chief Minister said that, he has issued a warning and we were told that 33 terrorists were killed and all. What exactly is happening? I mean, you also have to tell us, why is the government talking and no action is being taken?
No, that is what we're saying. On the 28th night, when the ship of the army was stationed in Imphal, there were 17 places attacked by the Kuki militants simultaneously from 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the morning. But in the next day, why the army denied that? They said that this is a simple and law and order issue. Let me put the facts.
I'm not stopping you.
Let me put up the facts.
I'm not stopping you. Listen to me. I'm not stopping you. You have your time. You speak how much you want to. Only thing I'm telling you, if you can ask Ms. Saoji, you can ask Mr. Haukip, General Meston. We are running this program for last 45 days. Every day it becomes 46, 47. Every day for 2 hours. And we have asked all the questions. So please don't include us in national media. It's a News9 live stream. It's part of the TV9 group. And it has its commitment to covering Northeast in a very sincere way. That's all I'm saying. That is why you don't find those Delhi intellectuals sitting. We make it a point to connect with those who know Manipur. That's all. Please go ahead.
No, the point is that on the 28th of night, there were 17 places simultaneously attacked by the miscreant, the Kuki militant, or we are suspecting militant in many places. When the Minister of State of Home Affairs was already present in Imphal, when the chief of the army was present in Imphal, but in the next day, they completely deny that this is simple and law and order issue. What is this all about? And if we are not doubting the integrity of the Indian army, but the question is who leaked those 29 military, who are heading the armed forces, the name and the security number, the station number, the address have been leaked by the Kuki Students Organization. But this is something which cannot be leaked from the student organization until and unless the inside military official leak those security things. Of course, the Indian army have condemned the kind of thing, but who will take this action? Who leaked that information? If there is a deep state is not involved, then it is not possible to leak all the details. It's not possible. The point is that who is playing in this game? Who is playing? We have to find out. Until and unless they disarm the border communities, the peace is not possible. But the Home Minister is saying that there will be no question of abrogation of the suspension of operation. Only they have to live in the designated camp. Who will monitor? In the last 50 days, they have actually, now who will monitor their movement? The point is that who will monitor? Until and unless you do not disarm this group, you are only if you are concentrating only in Imphal, many women will come out. They are saying that disarm the other side first because they instigated the violence. They actually disturbed the peaceful existence of Manipur. They have actually taken a privilege and exploited the large number of people. The very clear point is that if the government is not taking action against them and rather they will only take action of those looted arms in valley, they should be surrendered. My point is surrender. But who is counting the number of arm and ammunition with the Sioux militant group? All these designated camps are in the nearby foothill areas. All the valleys is surrounded by these designated camps and also along with the Assam Rifles. So who will actually give relief of this insecurity of the common population? Whenever there is a peaceful existence, they will actually disturb the peace. For example, in Shugunu area, the Kuki tribes, Kuki headmen and the Meitei villages have an agreement that they will not attack each other. But on the 28 other forces from attacked the 3 villages. And then again, Meitei also attacked the 5 Kuki villages. But there is actually a vested group who always wanted to disturb the peaceful life. And who are them? They wanted a Kuki land. They wanted to exploit them. Then who is supporting?
Okay, there's a bit of information I am giving you. The visuals which I show, Prime Minister was updated on Manipur. I'm playing out these visuals. Official information has come. Prime Minister was updated on the issue of Manipur. This is the correct information that has come. Amit Shah has briefed the Prime Minister. It's an important development that has taken place. That is why these visuals have come, that the Prime Minister has been briefed on the issue. Yes, Dr. Rajesh, you can complete your argument, then we'll go ahead. I just wanted to inform our viewers that in this meeting, Prime Minister was also informed about the Manipur developments. Dr. Rajesh.
Yeah, I'm happy that the Prime Minister is sitting on this agenda. Both the Kukis and Meitei are affected, and the Kuki, Meitei and the Nagas are the 3 component, very component part of the Manipuri society. Okay, we are a multi-social, multicultural society, and we live together for hundreds of years. But the external forces are actually dividing the people. They are supporting to one group, they are supporting to another group, and they wanted to play and divisive policies in the region. It has to be stopped.
Okay.
Because we are affected, both the Kukis. I'm speaking on behalf of both the Kukis and Meitei. Okay. We are living, we have been living in this part of the world with peaceful coexistence. So these forces, divide and rule, should stop. And the deep state, there is a suspicion, and many people as deep state is involved in this conflict. They are trying to divide. What happened in the last meeting that Amit Shah will rule the hill, and Ibobi will, this Biren will maintain the law and order. It's not a divide and rule. This is what actually Manipur wants. If this is the true, then Biren Singh will be, their credibility will be lost. Because every chief minister should have the power with both the united Manipur. No one will want. In any chief minister, I'm not talking about the particular.
I think that's a fair point. I think that's a fair point, Dr. Rajesh. Chief Minister for all. That's a good way of putting it. Misauji.
But some people.
I'll come to you. I'll come to you, Rajesh. Lot of time left. Misauji.
Yeah, Karthik, what is your question?
My question is that, Chief Minister for all. Don't you think that is what is required in Manipur? Chief Minister for all. Sabka Mukhyamantri.
I've been telling every now and then, I would reiterate again, the problem, the crisis in Manipur is political in nature, and it has to be solved politically through political process where dialogue is inevitable. Unless we do that, I don't think we are serious on the issue, and we are serious on Manipur. And whatever we do, it won't bring a lasting solution. Therefore, I would also appeal to the central government, especially Modi, our Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Home Minister, to bring about political solution. Because if you really care, because we have to go back to the root cause. As Rajesh was saying, the root cause has to be taken into account, and then unless you address the root cause, I think you are simply doing a symptomatic treatment. Now, my friend Rajesh, let's stop all this blame game. The few group involved in attacking, and then army siding with the Kuki groups. I think it's high time we should stop all this blame. I think this will not bring solution. Let's talk about what is the way forward from now. Now, unless you do that, there's no point of coming to all this public domain and talking. No, let's come up with some kind of probable solution. Now, that's why I'm saying that the divide has already been there. If you look at the Manipur, the Armed Forces Special Power Act, which was enforced in the entire northeastern part of India, And Manipur being one of the hotspots in every vices, look, in terms of insurgency, we have the highest number of militant groups. In terms of drugs, we are the conduit where the drugs smuggling coming from the Golden Triangle, and in everything we are the hotspot. Now, if AFSPA, Armed Forces Special Power Act, is repealed in the Valley group and it's still enforced in the hilly areas, I don't know what is the whole intention of the central government by doing that. Are they trying to give free hands to those militant groups in the Valley? Now, we have already seen 4 proscribed suspected UNLF were arrested with 51 mortars and they were released again. Now 12 proscribed banned militants, KYKR, they were arrested with numbers of arms and ammunition and wildlife stores, and they were released again. What would be the nature if such things happens in the hills? It's the same question which we would like to raise. But I'm not doubting the commitment, the service, and the integrity of Indian Army. We really believe in our soldiers, men in uniform. That's why last time I was raising this issue. When the entire nation is respecting the men in uniform, when anything happens with them, with the Chinese soldier, we raise loud cries, not accepting how our Indian soldiers are treated by the Chinese. Now, when our soldiers, our men in uniform, who join the Indian Army as Indian citizens, their identity are checked by all these Mera Paivis, going person to person and checking the identities. And there were also instances where our Indian armies, our Indian soldiers, their clothes are torn off. Is this how we are going to treat our soldiers? I think it's high time the Valley people, especially the Meitei community, come back to the sense and give respect, the highest respect to our Indian soldiers. In contrast to that, when our Indian soldiers went to the tribal area, especially the Kuki-dominated area, they were welcomed with singing Jana Gana, national anthem. They were welcomed with the tricolor, Indian flag. They were given water, they were given juice, because we know they are human. They need love, they need care, they need our support. That's how we extend our love to Indian soldiers, because we believe that they are there to protect civilians. They are not there to protect the militants. Now, when you are saying why no action is taken to the SO group, militant group, I would say this: please let the Meitei community stop spreading lies. You keep telling lots of stories without any substantive evidence. Now I'm going to tell you, the SO, the militant who are under suspension of operation, the head counting is regularly done by the Home Ministry, and believe me, the arms and ammunition are kept in the box with double lock. They are regularly monitored by the Home Ministry. If you are doubting the Home Ministry, that's another question. What I'm saying is, like, as you were saying, disarm the Kuki militant, then the arms and ammunition which were handed over. I'm not saying looted. Please, not this one. The arms are not looted. They are handed over. Now the arms, it's around 5,000 sophisticated weapons with more than 5 lakhs ammunition in the hands of those Meitei groups, Meitei radical groups, and now it is very clear the banned proscribed militants are directly involved. These arms which are handed over to the radical groups are now in the hands of all those proscribed outlaws, militant groups like UNLF, KYKL, because it has been already published in all the public domain that they are directly involved. Now, what do you do with that? Raise questions on that. Why you only raise questions on the integrity of those the Indian armies on the suspension of operation? Now, that's why I'm saying there should be equal way of addressing the problem. First, those arms and ammunitions are the state's property. Now, the state properties, what we are saying is, now, from the day when Amit Shah visited Manipur, from that day, I am from the ground. I just came out for some words, and I'm reporting from the ground. From the day Amit Shah ji, the Home Minister, visited Manipur, there is no instance of the Kuki attacking the Meitei group. Now, so far till now, what happened is like the Meitei group keep attacking and the Kuki groups are defending. Now, imagine last time in Aijizang, a place called Aijizang, which is in Tamenlo, around numbers of Meitei radical groups, I would say radical group because there are lots of my friends from Meitei community who are good, who have such human attitude, who have human sense, still believing in communal harmony. I really respect them. That's why I'm saying some radical groups, they attack and they are taking shelters in the church. They desecrate the church. They drink there, and then when the volunteers attack them, they die on the spot. And they are kept. Lots of the security arms were captured again. How do you say the militants or the Kuki militants are coming and attack them? Why you come and die in our place? Don't come to our place and don't die there. We love everyone.
Ms. Sauji.
Stay back, just stay home and don't come and attack. Then you won't,
Ms. Sauji.
There won't be any killing. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Dr. Haukip has been very patiently waiting like you. Dr. Haukip?
Yes. Yeah.
Would you like to respond to both the speakers?
Yeah, briefly, yes. Firstly, I would like to place on record Rose's argument trying to associate the Central Security Forces with the Kukis. So that would amount to, I think, casting aspersions on the professionalism of the Indian Army. In fact, the Indian Army, given their location and their roles and the kind of all India representation with regard to its personal composition, I think they are the only ones that can maintain effective law and order situation in the state. I'm surprised by the general pattern that tries to cast aspersions on the security forces without, again, questioning the sectarian or the partisan conduct of the state forces which are under the control of the Chief Minister Biren. I think in places where the Indian security forces, Indian Army are operating, there is a greater semblance of peace and tranquility. And it is exactly for this reason that the Kukis have both invested their faith in their security forces, the Central Security Forces. In fact, it has been long-standing demand that the Indian security forces be placed in the vulnerable Kuki areas. They have a strong objection to the state forces simply because there have been various ground reports that indicate the partisan conduct of the state forces. Wherever the state forces, when it ultimately lead to the destruction and the arsons of the many Kuki villages. So for that reason, I think the first step and the main refrain has been that president rule has to be imposed so that violence can be controlled. And I also want to reiterate once again that regular spot verification of the Sioux camps have been conducted, and the arms, ammunitions, and the personals remain intact. So that should be, I think, taken note of by my co-panelist, Roses. And thirdly, it is important to take into account the fact that the sectarian conduct of the state government is largely responsible for the kind of autonomy or separate arrangements that the Kukis or other tribal communities have been demanding. Unfortunately, the larger narrative has been that any kind of autonomy demands by marginalized communities are being delegitimized or chastised as sectarian and separatist in nature. But rather, I think the pertinent question should be asked, why that kind of a perception or demands for separate administration is emerging? It is precisely because of the partisan manner in which the state has been conducting with regard to development, with regard to public policy formulations, and so on. I think critical questions have to be rather asked with to the state government. And rather than delegitimizing the legitimate aspirations of the marginalized communities, the question should be asked to the state government, why has it not been able to fulfill the whole, get the trust and the faith of the whole communities of the state? If you look at the last 2-3 years, the Chief Minister Biren Singh has been really representing a very hardline Métis nationalism. Looking at the kind of comments, the tone and tenor of his Facebook posts, social media posts, and comments, engaging in political dog whistlings and so on, I think that is exactly the reason why the Kukis have a strong distrust in the Biren Singh-led government. It is important that as a first credible step towards resolving the violence in the state, it is important that the center takes control of the state for the time being, so that violence can be contained and the next process of bringing solution to the conflicts can be explored. Yeah.
Beautifully put, Dr. Hauke. Very beautifully put. There is no doubt about that. When people, I personally say that it is for the Indian Army that we see a semblance of unity and we see a semblance of order there, because we all know that the forces at the state level are more exposed to the parochial sentiments. They are more exposed to the local sentiments, and they react to that. The way the imagination of PAC used to be 1960s and 1970s in Uttar Pradesh. But Indian Army, an exemplary example of what a secular national security entity, apolitical. So, yes, people can have their view, but News9 as a platform is, again and again says that the wonderful job which has been done by Indian Army is beyond question. What the Spear Corps did on Saturday evening was something very,
very mature way of
one
bullet here and there would have taken the situation completely out of hand.
Secondly, the whole idea that people can have pick of their security apparatus is also not workable, because then you cast aspersion on the entire organization, because certain organizations don't work in certain districts, they work across the board. That is another debate for another time. But before that, I go back to all three my guests, Dr. Rajesh, Dr. Hauke and Ms. Sauji. I'll play out those 3 bites, very important bites of the Manipur Adhiveshan or Manipur meeting which was held. I have broken them into 3 parts so that I don't get deluged by viewers with 15 talking heads together. So these are 3 different shades of opinion. Please listen to them before we take this conversation forward. It all happened in Delhi, Lutyens Delhi, Central Delhi, close to where power functions.
अभी इन सारी चीजों पर टिप्पणी करना उचित नहीं होगा। बहुत खुले मन से बातचीत हुई और इसमें कोई गठबंधन, उसका स्वरूप, उसके नाम की चर्चा नहीं हुई है। एक कॉमन मिशन तय किया गया कि देश को आज एक प्रगतिशील लोकोन्मुख विकल्प की आवश्यकता है। तमाम दलों ने, जिनकी वहां मौजूदगी थी, एक स्वर से ये कहा कि अगर इस देश की संस्थाओं को, लोकतंत्र के चरित्र को बहाल रखना है, बरकरार रखना है, उसमें जो टूट आई है उसको रिपेयर करना है, तो एक विकल्प देना होगा। उसके लिए हम सब प्रतिबद्ध हैं।
About Manipur situation, what is the thinking of the union government to find way forward in order to solve the problems of Manipur? Yesterday, the Home Minister had one more round of meeting with leaders of parliamentary parties. But what is the outcome? The former Chief Minister has been telling us they have been trying to get an appointment with Prime Minister. not happening. And the Prime Minister has not uttered a word so far. And no Mann Ki Baat from Prime Minister on Manipur situation. Otherwise he does Mann Ki Baat on every issue under the sun. But Manipur is burning, it is in fire. But Prime Minister has not uttered a word. But the Home Minister claims Prime Minister is monitoring the Manipur situation. Are we see monitoring? What is he doing after monitoring the situation? This has to be questioned. This has to be questioned. The Prime Minister, and rightly he raised the doubts whether he is Prime Minister of India or Prime Minister of what? It's, genuinely people can question that. What is the responsibility of the Prime Minister, head of the government, If this is the studied, calculated silence on the part of Prime Minister, we need to look into various aspects of the development. Because we have very bitter experience in our country. Pulwama happened. Finally, now we came to know that was the failure of our government itself. Mr. Satyapal Malik came out and made a very startling, shocking statement on Pulwama. Now, when we move closer to elections, how this Manipur issue is going to be used by the BJP for its own electoral gains, political gains, we'll have to think over. Because Manipur is part of our country.
मुझे बड़ा अफसोस होता है जब होम मिनिस्टर के लेवल के लीडर्स 50-60 साल पुरानी बातों पे ट्वीट करते हैं। ट्वीट तो इंसान करंट अफेयर्स पे करता है। इमरजेंसी 75 में लगाई गई थी। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उनको और उनके 9 हाई कोर्ट की नजीरों को खारिज कर दिया था। 40 साल बाद नए चीफ जस्टिस साहब धनंजय जी ने जरूर बोला है कि वो जजमेंट गलत था, जिसमें मध्य प्रदेश हाई कोर्ट के जजमेंट को सेटिसाइड किया। तो अब मेरा ये कहना है कि 40-50 साल पुरानी बातें जो कि अब जुडिशियल हिस्ट्री हो गई है, उससे वो क्या प्राप्त कर लेंगे? वो अपनी बातें बताएं। आज मणिपुर में क्या हो रहा है, लोग चिंता है मणिपुर के बारे में, पूरा विश्व बात कर रहा है। वो हमारे लोग हैं, हमारे दिल के टुकड़े हैं। और जब वहां की महिलाएं रोती हैं, वहां के स्पोर्ट्समैन रोते हैं, हमको ऐसा लगता है कि हमारे घर में कोई रो रहा है। अमित शाह जी, मेरा आपसे विनम्र निवेदन है, 50 साल पुरानी बातें मत करिए, आज की बातें करिए, आज के प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व करिए। आप होम मिनिस्टर आज के लिए हो।
Okay, so now these were the bites. These were the issues. I'll again go back to Mr. Rajesh. Rajesh, before I reached the end point of the program in context of peace committee. Do you think that it's time they reconstitute it now, a smaller, a leaner version of it, after taking their राय? हाँ, हम peace committee का हिस्सा बनना चाहते हैं. Not like the last time, नाम दे दिया पर उनकी राय नहीं ली. उन्होंने बाद में इस्तीफा दे दिया. बोले sorry, we were not consulted. Dr. Rajesh.
I think the role of the peace committee is very important, and all the stakeholders, all the communities should be consulted, and the sincere effort should be put up in the peace committee. And there are many prominent people from both the Kukis and Nagas and Meitei, even Naga and Muslims are also taking a very positive role to bring peace in Manipur. So we should actually invite from all communities, and not necessarily from the both Meitei and the Kuki. And all the concerns should be addressed. That's one point. There are 2-3 points which actually the intelligence about Kuki, Meitei, and the larger Indian mainstream people, we all need to agree this point of time that the Manipur need peace. For that, actually, those people who involved in this violence and the armed group, both the Kukis and Meitei, should be disarmed. And all the Kukis and Meitei intelligentsia should not support any of the armed group. And there is no point of protecting the Sioux militant. All these Sioux militant camps should be dismantled and should be placed from 20-30 kilometers away from the foothills, because it is disturbing to the peaceful existence norm. And all these camps, which is nearby the Assam Rifles, should also be dismantled. And this, again, the Meitei armed group, they also be dismantled, because even it is danger for not only for Manipur, but for the Meitei group, for your radicalization of things. So because of, even if you know that even in Manipur has been very peaceful, and then the armed movement have been very limited in the last couple of years. But because of this conflict, now not only the youth, but the women, even in the Meitei relief camps, they are not asking for the food, they are asking for the arms and ammunition, because they are so vulnerable. Because they are so vulnerable, they are so insecure of their life. And this kind of insecurity should not be, should be protected, should be, trying to remove from the mind. And of course, I'm telling you again that the Kukis and the Meitei and the Nagas are the three very important components of a Manipuri society. And in this conflict, of course, more than 65,000 people have been displaced. But even the conflict in terms of casualties, unfortunately, around maybe 130 people have been lost their life. But actually in this conflict, if the border community cannot live each other, then there would be more casualty would have been there, because the border community saved the lives in Chocha, whether in Chuchampur or More or Imphal. But of course, in some other cases, we cannot save life, and we also share the pain of the loss of life from the border communities. I'm actually sharing, like whoever actually lost their life, their life, and we should pray for them. And there should be a very sincere effort from the border communities. And this point of time, only coexistence, peaceful, respecting the border communities and living together, and the Manipur modern society has been built from all communities, and the Kuki have also done a lot of work in the modern society.
Rajesh,
so that is the point. Yeah.
Rajesh, Brijesh this side. I just wanted to ask you a question. You're saying that the Sioux group should be disarmed. You're saying the Meitei armed group should be disarmed and disbanded. But how do you do that? When what happened on Saturday is something which can happen again and any number of times. When women-led mobs force Indian Army to release 12 militants, how do you see that? Is this going to be this easy?
No, that is what I'm saying. Like, if you are not taking action against the Kuki militant and only concentrating on Imphal, this will likely to happen. The women
the line which you're saying, Rajesh, I'm just trying to understand from you. I'm not trying to grill you or anything. But the line which you're saying is the same line which is said by the other side, that it is they who are being targeted and not the Meiteis, and the arms were not looted from the armory, but arms were handed over. So how does this end? I mean, because other than this, reaching a solid ground, I mean, these are mere words.
No, I'm a sociologist, okay, by tradition. So I actually understand the logic of why this is happening. For example, on the 3rd May, if the attack was simply by the common mob without arms, like Gujarat and other places, it was by sword and other things. But the 3rd May violence was there evidence in the social media and other, the armed, organized, sophisticated armed militant was involved. That is why the other side thought that you cannot fight with the armed group without arms. That is why they actually looted, forced to get those arms. The point is that the other side is already armed, because when you say Sioux militant, there are 17 armed organizations are there. And even though there are 2,000 members are registered, but we don't know how many members are there in the Sioux militant. So if some people are trying to defend them that they are not involved, then who are they? Who are they? On the 28th May, the all 17 places have been attacked. Who are they? So this has to be answered by the government, because the Meitei or any other villagers or even Kuki have no. We are all not. Our job is not to defend our village. The job of to defending is the security forces, the Assam Rifle Army. That is the job. If they have failed the job, then the people are themselves arming to protect themselves. So this situation is also because of the failure of the state, both the state government and the central government. So yes, other group will only blame the state government, but we will blame both the government. We will blame both the center. From the 5th onward, the law and order situation have been under the control of the Home Minister, under the security advisor. Even Chief Minister was even not the chief of the Unified Command. Now he is just coming again yesterday, but in the last many days, Home Minister is directly controlling the security command. And the responsibility is central government has the responsibility, but the other side is only helping, saying that okay, we are the kind of thing. Only they are. Issues have been divided. Why they are not blaming the central government? They only said that we believe the central government, we believe the BJP of the Delhi, and we don't believe the Imphal. So issues have been divided. My point is that both the center and the state have failed to protect the life of both Cookies and Meitei. And the center is responsible for that.
Okay.
Central basic state means both the state government, because Biren Singh government, Biren is a rubber stamp of the Home Minister. Whatever he will say, the Biren Home Minister will say, he will say, like he was called in Imphal and he becomes so active.
Dr. Rajesh, I would say that, on the lighter side, not to be taken, that you will find very few independent chief ministers when it comes to the current scenario. I don't think, you'll have independent chief ministers. Only Congress right now have independent chief ministers because they refuse to listen to their own high command. That is why Mr. Gehlot is the chief minister, not the president of the Congress party. I am not making light of the discussion, but that's the truth of the matter. When it comes to the ruling dispensation, I don't think there is an independent chief minister. They have to listen to whatever is happening in center. Mr. Misal, you had raised your hand.
I was just saying, because when he said, when the incident started in that Chulsanpur, the militant with sophisticated weapons coming up. So now I would tell the whole world what really transpired on that day. I was personally taking part in the rally, and there was just before the rally, the Meitei community, I don't know, it was a solidarity march, peaceful march only, and I don't know why they imposed counter blockades to the hills. That's the first thing. The second thing is, like, when the rally was organized peacefully, every person who were taking part in the rally were just back to home. And then some miscreant came to the place where the Anglo Cookie War centenary gate was there, and then they started burning. So a group of, because you always have emotional attachment with your history. That's why a group of young people, like, when they heard that, they got pissed off, and then they started running towards the gate, and then they know that there were a group of people who were coming in Bolero, and then they run back, and then they also went there to reason out why they are burning. And then in the whole process, what happened is people who went there to just reason out were beaten black and blue. And then what happened? There was scuffle between the community, and unfortunately, the Meitei community started burning down. That's how it is reaching to this scale. Because if the burning down of houses didn't start, I think it won't get to reach this scale. The fighting will end there, and the problem can be solved amicably. But when the burning down of houses started, it's how it reached to this scale and gravity, intensity. Okay. Now the other thing is, I am very surprised because I highly regarded this Meitei community because they are a well-disciplined community built with a very strong ethical values, and we keep, even my family and my father keep saying, you must follow the lifestyle of the Meitei community because they are highly disciplined. The children are highly disciplined. They are strongly rooted in with ethical values. But if you look at all this time, there are, I think, I don't know why they just forget who they are, and then resorted to all these inhuman acts, where everyone was raped, killed, and a child.
I think, Misauji, only thing I would say is, I got your point, Misauji. The reason why there are a couple of other information which I have to, put in. The only thing which I would say, Misauji, is that, state was not seen acting. You asked me as a journalist, 24 years I have also spent in this profession. What I distinctly find is, state is not seen acting. State has to be seen in action. Dr. Haukip, do you agree that somehow that state level push was absent? कि देख लेंगे.
That has been the whole point. Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're audible.
Okay. If you look at the torching of Kuki localities in Imphal, you will clearly infer that there is an active patronization by the state. Haukipvang is a locality which is a Kuki locality just within 1 to 2 kilometers radius from the nerve center of the capital city, Ras Bhavan, Chief Minister's office, and so on. In the footage available, you can see that the state police forces are found accompanying the mob, radical mob, towards Haukipvang. Not only that, even ministers' residences are burned. Even the DGP's official residence are attempted to torch, and so on. These cannot be possible without the indifferent attitude of the state forces. And it is also important to note here that my co-panelist, he sounded very moderate this time. I am on the same page with him on certain points. But with regard to the genesis of the conflict, there can be many other structural causes, but the immediate triggering point was an attempt to burn the Anglo-Kuki war. There were footage available where the Kuki in P trying to pacify the Kuki participants in the rally that please retreat. There are certain hands trying to cause conflicts. But since the attempt to arson already provoked many volunteers, the conflicts ensue. And you can see that armed display was a later phenomenon. It was not, even though they tried to portray it as armed militants involving in the rally, it's not the case. That case was a later development. And at the same time, it is also visible that the Meitei side also displayed arms. It was openly available and visible in the footage. And thirdly, in order to bring peace process forward, I think I have already reiterated myself that it has to be headed by a credible person, maybe headed by the Home Minister himself or by the central government, anybody from the center. Because when two neighbors fight, I think it is the third party who is seen as a neutral arbiter. I think that would be much more effective. What was the problem with the previous peace committee form was that the chief minister was heading the committee. The chief minister, as we all know, is seen as a hardcore Meitei nationalist who has been engaging in political dog whistlings, trying to secularize, trying to demonize the particular community, and so on. So if you really want peace process to be taken forward, I think that reality needs to be taken cognizance. At the same time, my co-panelist Roses has said about the absence of the chief ministers having any agency with regard to governance of the state. I think that would be belying the constitutional, the federal arrangements. The state government has its own powers and functions under the establishment, under the constitutional demarcation of powers and so on. So the unified command and so on, headed by Kuldeep Singh, may be spoken verbally, but constitutionally, I don't think there is no official promulgation of Article 355 or either Article 356, which effectively takes away the powers with regard to maintenance of law and order from the chief minister. And last point, in order to take the peace process forward, I think it is very important to take strong critical view of the kind of narrative that which is building at the highest political level, at the same time at the civil society level, that tries to term the Kukis as illegal immigrants. Just imagine how hurtful it would be for the peoples who are bona fide citizens of the country and who has a long history of anti-imperialist movements and so on, being labeled as immigrants, refugees, day in, day out. I think this has to be nipped in the bud if there has to be seriousness in taking the peace process forward. One thing I would like to draw to the attention of all is that there are even arguments that say among the Meitei nationalist discourse that There are so many Kuki villages who don't speak Manipuri. They are real immigrants. When did speaking a Manipuri language become a badge of citizenship?
Okay.
So, I mean, the Kukichin groups, they can communicate with each other because of the social homogeneity. They can communicate in their own dialects, and they don't feel the need to use Manipuri Meitei Long to communicate with one another. And to argue that just because somebody don't speak Manipuri is not a bona fide citizen of India, these are preposterous. I think it should be
I think, Dr. Haukip, the larger issue is that, who's the insider, outsider, that's a separate debate. I really want to do a debate on the ethnicity migration of Northeast with all the sociologists and anthropologists of last 1,000 years to decode ki है कौन नॉर्थ ईस्ट का और बाहर से कौन है. We can start with the Tripura dynasty. We can really have a good sociological discussion on it to really understand that outsiders and insiders are an issue which came into fore because of colonial practices, notification, creation of gazettes, classification. These were the tools to control local population, which is not restricted to Northeast, but it was restricted. It was practiced all over India, and I think Manipur is just an example in case, but I think the broader issue is that Manipur requires a peace committee. It requires a tangible effort on part of the government to create a block of people who will go there, who will talk to people, whose consent has been taken, and who says that they will spend some time. And if the peace committee is problematic, I would definitely say then there has to be an all-party meet, because unless and until these political actors are involved in this, I think it will be very, very problematic for any political intervention to fructify fruitfully. Welcome to this edition of News9 Live, and our special edition of Manipur post all-party meet. There was a seminar which was also held in New Delhi, where a lot of leaders of the opposition participated. We can say that despite all efforts, all sincerity shown, Manipur continues to burn. It's been 50 days since ethnic violence erupted in the hill state. One of the points of contention is that the majority of people, including BJP MLAs, are unhappy with Chief Minister Biren Singh's handling of the entire situation. However, Biren Singh has managed to get a new lease of life after meeting Home Minister Amit Shah in National Capital on Sunday. He was supported publicly. He was asked to continue his work properly and ensure that everyone is on board. This means that Biren Singh will remain in the helm of affairs in Manipur as of now. In New Delhi, Singh had a detailed discussion with the Home Minister, who advised him to establish peace in the state and revive dialogue across communities. And in the latest, a mob of 1,500 women, a story which we had been following, Brijesh.
Absolutely.
They surrounded a target area, stopped a counter-insurgency operation in the Imphal on late Saturday. The mob forced army to release 12 cadres of the band KYKL. Yes, a band KYKL. And this is not the first time that women are actively participating in the tussle going on in the violent, torn state. During the recent clashes, women groups here have taken to the streets to protest against the government, and also the operations launched by the security forces to flush out armed miscreants and recover looted weapons and ammunition. So why are women out? Two important things. Biren Singh to stay, and why are women out? Women have become the forefront, the face of community action. I am not saying that the women have joined insurgents, but they have become part of community action to free their own people. And they have become the